since we're talking about the future, let me ask you the timeline question, or even just like definitional. What is Alonzo? You mentioned some fun Hello World experiments going on.
Right.
And how and when will Cardano get smart contracts?
Yeah, so Alonzo Church is a famous mathematician, computer science guy, and he was a contemporary of Turing. And there was like these three different views of computing: recursive functions from Gödel and Turing machines from Turing. And Church had lambda calculus, and they're all equivalent, and they all give you the ability to build a computer. So we like functional programming. So we decided
That's your favorite church.
Yeah. So we had to name something after Church, and it's just weird that we never did. So we said, okay, Alonzo is a good release name. Basically, it was bringing smart contracts to Cardano. It took us a long time to get here, and we'll be there in the next 90 days. It's we like everything we do. There's a process, and so there's all the colors of the rainbow. We start with Alonzo blue, and then white and purple. And each step you do some more things, you bring more users in, and then eventually you get to a threshold where you say, okay, everything works the way intended, and you push a button, and we initiate what's called a hard fork combinator event, and boom, the system has smart contracts. You just wake up and it's there. It's like it's in your house.
So it's going to be.
It's like when I got my blue check mark on Twitter. I woke up and I had it.
Yeah,
it's just like Christmas.
And you were never the same.
I was
never. You can't go back. It's like hard fork. It's a hard fork of Charles.
Yeah, exactly.
You got blue. Well, actually, I think you can take it away, but
can they take my check mark away?
I think. But that'd be like a hard fork backwards, I guess. Okay, so great. So that's but currently there's a testing procedure going on to see what does that look like and what will give you confidence that things are working well.
Yeah. So first you start with the Mary era, which is where we're right now multi-asset. So you can do metadata and issue tokens on Cardano, but you have limited programmability on chain. Alonzo adds the programmability in, but we already have most of the foundations of the extended UTXO model and the smart contract model. It's just those things aren't ready. So the first step is say fork it. So all those rules are now there. Okay, so that's what we did with Alonzo Blue. We forked a testnet-based layer, and it successfully survived going from Mary to Alonzo, which means that you can move transactions from one side to the other. Both systems work. And then the next step is say, okay, well, are the stake pool operators, the people who run the infrastructure, able to run this testnet just like they run Cardano? And that's what we're doing right now with Blue. We're bringing all these SPOs in. And then are we able to submit and run smart contracts on the system? And they actually return a round trip. You send something, you get something back. Yay, okay. So that's where we're at. And then what you do is each step, so the next is white, you go from like 50 people to several hundred, and then purple's an open testnet where we want every single person in the entire ecosystem to use it. It's also a dev net. So that means that people are writing with Blue's Playground and local interpreters, their smart contracts can actually start testing them now on the public infrastructure. So it's kind of like releasing dev kits to the Xbox or something like that. You send them out to game developers before you release the Xbox so they can test their video games in anticipation of the release of the system. So you run that for at least a month. And as long as it doesn't blow up in your face and, oh God, what have we done? Hindenburg, oh, the humanity, you release it and, you ship it. The problem is it's no longer in our control. There's over 100 exchanges that have listed Cardano. There's lots of wallet infrastructure. There are thousands of different constituencies. So it's less of a technological problem now, and it's more of a coordination problem. So you have to evolve in a very methodical way, and each step of the way you bring new actors in, they get ready for it, they upgrade their infrastructure to it, and then like shells, eventually you get to the outer shell, which is the hard fork for the general public. And if we've done it right, like that blue check mark, they wake up and it's exactly the same. They just get a little update thing, update your client. And they start demanding Wagyu beef.
Is there stuff you're worried about in terms of like when something's this tricky, goes up several orders of magnitudes in terms of scale? Are there problems that you foresee? Is there like we said, there's game theoretic aspects, all those kinds of things. Like what worries you the most?
I mean, I sleep like a baby. I wake up every 2 hours crying.
Damn, that's a good line. You're full of good lines.
I mean, there's a lot that
you just made me realize that expression makes no sense. I slept like a baby, but go ahead.
Yeah, exactly right. Just messing your whole world up right now, Lex. No, I mean, there's so much that keeps me up at night. It's like you're in a cold sweat every day when you have an ecosystem like this because the other thing is you're judged as much by the applications people build on the platform as you are by the platform you've constructed. So, one of the most unfair things that happened in our industry was blaming Vitalik for the DAO hack. He didn't write the code. He wasn't responsible for it. It was a completely independent, different team. And because it blew up, a lot of people just developed this idea: Ethereum is not secure. The EVM is fundamentally broken. And it's true, there are some issues there, but come on, that's like saying, oh, well, Photoshop didn't work. Fuck Bill Gates.
Yeah.
And that's the issue is you get as a platform developer, coupled with the wins and losses of your application developer. So if they go do amazing things, it's like, oh yeah, Windows is great. We love it. And if they go do terrible things, they're like, oh man, I guess he's trying to kill all of us. So what we're kept up at night about is not just what we've constructed, but also how do we curate an ecosystem and foster the development of an ecosystem where you have assurance baked into the application and that's somehow expressible to the user. So when you download your smart contract or you click your one-click install to use your Uniswap clone or whatever the hell it is that's deployed on Cardano, you have a little green check mark or something that indicates to you that somebody audited the code or it followed a specification. The lack of that is problematic because then first, there's impersonations, the whole MyEther wallet thing, or like your videos or my videos are the same. Every comment, there's a bot that says, hey, give me some money or something like that. That kind of stuff happens. But then just protocol level flaws, like what happened with the DAO hack, that's what really keeps me up at night. How do you resolve that problem? Because I don't hire these people. I don't tell them what to do. I didn't tell them how to build things on the platform. They may have tons of experience and knowledge. They could be Simon Peyton-Jones, or they could have absolutely no knowledge whatsoever. And they read one tutorial and they've written 3 lines of code their entire life. And they've deployed something horribly broken, copy paste, and suddenly it all goes to hell. I'm judged by both. That's what really keeps me up at night. And we're, as a company, trying to figure out, and as the ecosystem, trying to figure out standards. Like at University of Wyoming, we're setting up the Smart Contract Engineering Institute. We're negotiating with them right now. And the goal there is just to create some, standards for how to certify smart contracts. And so that you can get that green check mark and know that it actually has some assurance level behind it. But God, that's a huge coordination problem. And it's a huge information presentation problem and incentives problem and so forth. And unfortunately, people who value being first to market will kind of piss in the pool for everybody else.